The first point you say here is that marriage is not about living happily ever after. Okay, what does that mean? Because I mean, that's really for most people, that's the fairy tale, isn't it? You get married
Sure.
and you live happily ever after, right? So if
It
it's
was
not
for me.
about that, what is it
Come
about?
on. Yeah. Well, and I kind of build this train of thought out in the book I'm working on, which is kind of an extension of the article in a sense, or it was inspired by the article, I should say. But what I argue in the book is entirely that it's not about happiness. And unfortunately, we've associated the chemical reaction of infatuation, and we've labeled that love. And because of that, we kind of have this belief that we fall into love with our partner. That feeling is mutually, that commitment and that feeling is mutually shared. And then we get married and we live happily ever after, right? Unfortunately, infatuation is actually a chemical reaction that can only last up to 2 years. So inevitably, those feelings are going to fade, and we're going to be stuck with, okay, what the hell is this, right? What did I sign up for, right?
Yeah, that's an incredible realization. When I learned that as well, that was a huge aha moment. It was like, wow, okay, this is interesting.
Come on, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, dude,
yeah,
me too.
yeah.
But in relation to happiness, in the book, I argue that I paint the picture of Michelangelo, and I think it's a really great word picture for marriage. But Michelangelo had this belief that when he sculpted, he had a belief that he would just go down. His job was to liberate the beautiful statues that were already inside of this chipped stone, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a beautiful picture of the statue, one of his most famous statues, the Pieta, where he walks through the marketplace and there's this super ugly stone that nobody has touched for years. The shop owner literally just wants to get it out to replace it with a stone he can sell. And Michelangelo believed that the stone spoke to him and said, Jesus and Mary are inside of me. So he took it home, and 2 years later he had created the Pieta. And the word picture for us in marriage is actually that marriage is more a chisel in divine hands than it is about our happiness or about anything else. It's actually the Orthodox Christian church has carried on a belief from the early church that we can see in Paul's statement in Ephesians. And the book is written from a Christian worldview, but it's more historical Christian. It's not necessarily, hey, this is truth, but it's, hey, let's look into something someone else has said and try and pull truth from it, or a level of reality for us in everyday life. And Paul talks about how husbands love your wife as Jesus loved the church. So he presented this beautiful picture between the love that Jesus exemplified towards humanity, which was all about death for the sake of humans having the opportunity to have salvation. Right. And the original Greek word, the Orthodox Church still kind of presents this in their wedding ceremonies, but the original Greek word for salvation is holistic healing. And so it's this beautiful idea that love from a husband to a wife and from a wife to a husband is actually about each other's salvation, about each other's holistic healing, and us becoming the best version of ourselves. And so literally, the perspective's totally changed me, where I look at my wife and I go, okay, even in all of my dysfunction, when I make the choices every day to love her, that's actually helping her become more of who she's meant to be, the best version of who she is. And even in all of our conflict and all of our issues, it's actually there. Marriage has been given to us as a gift to become, like I said, the best version of ourselves. Does that make sense?
It's so profound.
Come on. So Michelangelo, the picture is like this: marriage is a chisel that's meant to make us beautiful. To liberate. He literally says to liberate the beautiful statues that already exist.